Hey everyone, we are going to solve this trig equation right over here, and we're going to start off by solving it specifically on the interval from 0 to 2 pi. That is an indicator that we are to use radians for our answers. You shouldn't be using degrees when something like that's written. Also, since it says on an interval, we're going to have a finite number of solutions. Additionally, we have to read the entire directions because it says solve. Sometimes it may say simplify. Sometimes it may say graph. Sometimes it may say verify. Look carefully. Does it have an equal sign? Are you looking for solutions on an interval? Are you looking to just simplify and rewrite it? What are you trying to do? These problems to the naked eye could all look very, very similar. All right. So over here, the first thing I notice is it looks like it has a bit of quadratic style to it. It looks like ax squared plus bx plus c. So I'm going to factor this using AC method and grouping. Some of you can just jump right to factoring, but for the sake of the video, I will show it full out. Now, if you wanted to do your factoring on the side, use an x instead, or maybe you want to use y because sine is y in the unit circle, so you don't have to write all that information and then plug sine back in later. You could do that. I wouldn't recommend using an S because it does look like a 5. So if we go over here to the side, this time I will just use a y, 2y squared plus, technically that's 1y minus 1. Now, it is an equation. I don't want to lose my equal sign. I suppose I could just leave that there for us. A is positive 2, B equals positive 1, and C equals negative 1. For the AC method, we're going to go over here, A times C. That is going to be 2 times negative 1, which gives us negative 2. I'm going to list my factors. 2 is the only even prime number, so the only factors of a prime number. It will have 2 distinct factors, 1 and itself. There we go. Bottom of the list, B for but what? But I need my factors to add to give me to give me positive 1. So that means I need a positive 2 and a negative 1. Should have written that down here. Always make sure it still satisfies and multiplies to give me negative 1, and that is true. I went over positive and negative multiplication rules in a different video. So hopefully you're able to be quick, easy, and fluid with all of that, and you don't have to stop and think too hard. So now I'm going to split my middle term up into 2 separate terms. So I will have 2i squared minus 1y plus 2y minus 1. I'm going to factor by grouping. First group, second group. Your groups have to have the same number of terms in them as each other. So this has 2 terms, 2 terms. You could have a group of 3 and another group of 3. You could have 3 groups of 2. So grouping is a little bit more flexible than we think sometimes. What's the greatest common factor here? Just y. What's the greatest common factor here? Just a positive 1. This is really a positive y. The first term doesn't need the sign in front unless it's a minus sign. I'm going to, if I'm dividing by these things, I'm also multiplying out front by these things. To divide, we use the Pretzel method. I've talked about the pretzel quite a bit. When you have addition or subtraction in your numerator and one expression in your denominator, an expressions are separated by plus and minus signs or minus signs. So when we want to reduce this, we use a pretzel and we divide everybody by what is in the denominator. If this was one big product quotient fraction, you do not divide that piece by everybody up top, okay? So we get 2y minus 1, and again, 2y minus 1, because when you factor out a positive 1, nothing changes. Now, my even greater common factor is going to be that quantity of, maybe I should use a highlighter for it. My greater common factor is this, 2y minus 1, 2y minus 1. Both the first piece of the equation over here has it, and so does the second one. So I'm going to take that and factor that entirely out front, the same way I took the y out front, the 1 out front. I could underline and do that all again. but because it's more to write, I'm not going to do that. Make sure you put parentheses. If that gets factored out front, what is left inside? Y plus 1. And then you would solve from there. However, I'm going to jump over here now, and that gives me 2 sine theta minus 1, and that gives me sine theta plus 1. And we're going to use zero product property. 2 sine theta minus 1 is 0. 2 sine theta equals 1. Sine theta equals 1/2. Theta equals, now, you can jump right to the answers. If you wanted to show the proper step that comes next, it's actually this over here. Okay, because to get rid of the sine, we take sine inverse of both sides. So really, this over here asks the question that I've been writing out or asking out loud. Theta equals sine inverse 1/2 reads the sine of what angle or angles is 1/2. We're solving for angles. Where on the unit circle are the y values? 1/2. Hopefully you know the unit circle pretty well at this point. Positive 1/2, I'm already visualizing it. It's up a little bit over here and over here. Those angles I see are pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6. And there will be a part B to this that I will do in a separate video. I'll link it at the end, where instead of finding the answers only between 0 and 2 pi, we're going to find all of the answers. But let me just finish this piece over here. Sine theta plus 1 is 0. Sine theta equals -1. Theta equals, so I'm just going to skip writing this step for now. The y value on the unit circle, the sine of what angle is -1? 3 pi over 2. So for this particular question, we have 3 answers: pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, and 3 pi over 2. For part B, we will actually have an infinite number of solutions. But I hope that this part, oh, sorry, I was a little cut off over there. My head is in the way. There you go. But hopefully this was able to help you out. If you feel a little bit better about this and you kind of understand it a little bit more, put a thumbs up on it because you feel good about it. And then any video that you might have to revisit or that you don't understand or that you just need more practice with, put a thumbs down so I know by that feedback that we need more practice with that. Okay? Have a good day.